Today we're going to talk about serenity and its important um, position in processing grief and trauma, right? And what I did personally, or how I figured that my serenity was like we're in a really good place. 20 months ago, when many of you know, when my son was murdered, when I got that initial phone call, all I had to do was to grieve authentically. What I mean by that is just respond authentically. I didn't react with impulse and emotion. I didn't feel the need for revenge. I wasn't angry, bitter. I didn't feel hate and all those negative emotions that come with that sort of tragedy for the vast majority of people. Okay, when just 10 years ago, given the opportunity, I would have killed that person myself. Okay, I can say that in hindsight because I'm a completely different person now, 180, but for years I didn't even realize where my serenity was. Okay, but I was working on it. Okay, I was doing things to to help me respond, like I said, authentically without reacting, and to be able to, just do that and show up as my best self. So today I want to take you through the serenity framework that I've developed and what it means with, processing trauma, like I said. And, the serenity framework, it begins with S, obviously, which represents self-awareness. And the E stands for embracing the experience. The R says to reinterpret the narrative. Okay? The second E is going to come at you with empowerment, while the T demands transformational growth. And the Y is and always will be, under any circumstances, to yield to peace. Okay? Now, with that being said, the S, self-awareness. The first step in transforming trauma into meaning is developing self-awareness. This involves acknowledging the emotional and psychological impact of the event while recognizing how it shapes your beliefs, behaviors, and thought patterns. Okay, these things come after the initial event. You're able to, after processing the grief and whatnot, but practicing mindfulness and introspection to understand your emotional triggers, and journaling or meditative practices can assist in identifying deep-seated emotions and thoughts about the trauma. And engaging in therapy to process past trauma and to cultivate a deeper awareness of how it affects your life. Okay? And again, all this will come maybe after the initial impact, right? And the E, embrace the experience. Definition. Instead of avoiding or suppressing traumatic events, because all that's going to come up if you keep suppressing it, embrace the full experience. This means accepting that while the trauma was painful, it is a part of your story that can lead to growth and the ability to help others. Application, acknowledge the trauma and its impact without minimizing it. Seek to understand how the event has shaped how you see things, your worldview, your skills or strengths. Reframe your perspective to view the experience as a source of learning, even if it comes with pain, especially if it comes with pain. The R, reinterpret the narrative, okay? The R, reinterpreting the narrative of the traumatic event, involves changing the story that you tell yourself about it. Rather than seeing it solely as a source of suffering, you can find ways to see it as a catalyst for personal transformation. Okay? And to apply that, you can engage in cognitive reframing, which involves challenging negative or limiting beliefs tied to the trauma or the event. Focus on the strengths that you've gained, the resilience developed, or the new perspective that you've acquired along the way. Explore how the event has expanded your capacity for empathy, compassion, or wisdom, love, and just understanding to other people, and the willingness to serve like I've experienced it. The E, empowerment. The definition, empowerment in trauma is essential. It's about recognizing that you have the agency to shape your response to what has happened, regardless of the uncontrollable aspects of the traumatic event itself. The way you can apply that is just take ownership of your healing process, setting boundaries and seeking support when necessary. Cultivate resilience by focusing on your ability to adapt and move forward. Develop skills for coping for future challenges, right? Reinforcing your sense of inner strength. The N, nurture connection. Healing is often facilitated through connection with other people. Building and nurturing healthy relationships can provide support and understanding and shared meaning in ways that reduce suffering. You can apply this just by, seek supportive friendships, mentorships, or community groups that foster shared healing, shared experiences, and practice vulnerability in trusted relationships to allow others to witness your growth and challenges. You can offer support to others who have gone through similar experiences. This is a level of service that just is you can't help but to grow from and help them to grow. The I, integrate the lessons. The lessons you learn from traumatic events must be integrated into your life for transformation. In order for that to happen, these lessons should inform the way that you live, make decisions, and approach challenges. The application, just to reflect regularly on how the trauma has changed your values, goals, and life choices. Apply new insights gained from the trauma to make conscious decisions that align with your evolved self. Practice self-compassion as you integrate lessons, understanding that growth is a process that takes time. And the T, transformational growth. Trauma, when given meaning, can lead to profound personal growth. This stage here focuses on the idea that transformation is possible and that suffering does not need to be permanent. You can apply this by just embracing a growth mindset, believing that every setback or challenge is an opportunity for self-improvement. Reframe trauma as an avenue for spiritual, emotional, and intellectual growth. Allow yourself to evolve into a stronger, more grounded version of yourself over time. And yes, this does take time. Finally, the why, yield to peace. And ultimately, the goal of transforming trauma into meaning is to yield to a state of peace. This means letting go of the grip that suffering has on you and embracing a life defined by acceptance, serenity, and inner peace. The application, what is that? Practice forgiveness, both for others and yourself, in order to release lingering resentment or pain. Engage in practices that promote inner peace, such as meditation, breathing exercises, spending time in nature, with family, other things that provide peace. Cultivate gratitude for the journey, even with its hardships, acknowledging that peace is a continuous practice. By following that serenity framework, one can gradually transform the suffering caused by traumatic events into a meaningful life of growth, empowerment, and inner peace, and service to others too. Each component builds upon the other, helping individuals reclaim their power and rewrite their narrative with greater strength and clarity. I've been known to say before, I'm going to say it again right here, that once you find meaning and value in an event, and although you may not be grateful for the event itself, I have come to be grateful for it and acknowledge the opportunities that the event being the death of my son, that the event has provided. 90 minutes after I got that dreaded phone call, I got my daughter on the phone, who I hadn't talked to in over 3 years, for reasons that don't matter now at all. And when during that phone call we reconnected, okay, that relationship immediately began to heal. We cried together. We had meaningful conversations. A meaningful conversation, and that relationship is flourishing today. And when I hung that phone up after we got done talking, I thought, there's something to be grateful for. And I immediately was up, not 100%, but okay, it gave it meaning. Now, weeks later, I saw in myself that it had changed me, intrinsically. I became more compassionate, more loving, more understanding, okay? Just more empathetic toward people, a greater desire to serve and willingness to reach out and help others, okay? And I just realized that this event that I would have never hoped for, wished for, or even imagined, had changed me and made me a better human being, okay? And so that gave it meaning. And for that, I can be grateful for the opportunity that it presented. My ex-wife, my son's mother, who just 2 years ago couldn't have sat in the same room with me. Now, we can talk face to face. She doesn't, I feel like weight's been lifted off of her shoulders, which is a blessing. She has my granddaughter, my son's daughter, our granddaughter, who, and I can be grateful for that we can talk, and do FaceTime. And her whole demeanor, body language and tone has changed toward me. And there's some sort of healing going on there in that relationship. And for that, I am truly grateful. Again, not grateful for the event, but grateful for the opportunity that the event has presented. And for that, I'm truly grateful. This is John Briggs. And if you want to get on a call with me, you know, a 60-minute free strategy session, go to luminousconnections.com, and I would be glad to talk with you about anything that's on your mind. Thank you. You have a good one.